Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Reuben. Reuben is from Southampton in England, in the UK. So let's see what Reuben has to say. Enjoy the interview. Yeah. So hello Reuben, how are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, life always the roller coaster.
So tell me, how's your day going so far?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, good. Yeah. Living life, living life, healthy, happy. You know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, all
So,
good.
so tell me, where is home? Where are you from?
I'm living in Southampton at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
so UK, but I
Yeah.
do. I tend to travel loads, because I have kids who live with their moms. So I've got one son who lives in Somerset, Glastonbury, or near
Okay.
Glastonbury. And then I've got another son who lives in Penzance in Cornwall.
Wow.
So lots of
Yeah.
moving around. Yeah. Co-parenting.
And where you were born, Reuben?
I was born in Southampton. Yeah. So mum and dad are in Southampton, and I use this place as a base.
Mm-hmm.
As mum and dad are getting to those ages where it's nice to be around them. You
Uh-huh.
know, they're getting older. It's nice to be able to cook the meals and look after them a little bit like they looked after me.
Oh, that's sweet. That's
Yeah,
very sweet.
give back a little bit.
So tell me a little bit interesting about something interesting about Southampton.
Well, it's really for an industrial city, it's
Mhm.
really green and natural. So
Right.
there's loads of green spaces. It's very close to like a big forest. So it doesn't take very long to go from very industrial, very city, very busy to very quiet, very peaceful, very natural. So it's got this really nice balance.
How far is from London?
Maybe 1 hour and a half.
Okay, it's not far.
Yeah, not far, not far. Same distance to Brighton, but
Ah,
but Brighton is directly south, and Southampton is south and west.
I see. And tell me, what do you do for work, for living?
Wow, that is more complicated. I've got many strings to the bow, right?
Mhm.
Um, the main thing I'm doing at the moment is coaching. So using yoga and meditation and breath work as a foundation. And I've been a yoga teacher for nearly 20 years.
Oh,
And for a long time, it was like a side hustle. It was like my side gig because I had this fancy job in finance, earning loads of money, really good, but really high pressure and really soulless. And then after maybe really quite only a couple of years in that job, I just started into yoga for my health, to get away from some bad habits. And then I swapped a bad habit for a good habit. And my teacher insisted that I take a teacher training course, which I did. And I started teaching straight away, which was great. I started teaching at a university in Southampton and loads of classes a week, always with beginners, which was amazing. Really helped me understand how to tailor the teachings of yoga uniquely. And rather than teaching open classes now, I work one-to-one.
I see.
So I use human design as a
Mhm.
system to tell me how to tailor the yoga practices to uniquely to the client. And over 3 months, I build the daily routine for my client. So at the beginning of the 3 month journey, I give them a 3 minute homework. And then gradually over the 3 months, this homework increases. So by the end of the 3 months, they have a daily practice of just under half an hour.
Mhm.
But then also, because all the way along, there are these smaller practices, it means that anytime they need to reduce their practice, they can just take a little bite size, little bite
Mm.
size, little bite size. So really using this holistic practice as a way to support them on their journey, getting closer to themselves.
I see. My God, that's absolutely amazing, incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. It's quite
Wow.
unique. I don't think there's many other people working this way.
See, I actually like the way you're describing that, you can do little time as well. It doesn't need to full time all the time do the same. You can kind of follow your own way of doing it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
absolutely. Yeah.
that. Okay, so through the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your life and also about your joys, okay?
Okay, cool. Nice. Sounds exciting.
Before we start our journey, William the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself. Not many people know about you.
Oh, well, I'm quite an open book, you know, but something that I do keep quite personal and that I don't share very often is that I play flute, and I've been learning to play flute for a few years, but I don't really share it very often with people. So I became along the journey with yoga, there's always been a little hint of devotion to Krishna.
Okay.
And Krishna is the guy that plays the flute, as his way of charming us and creating beauty in the world. So I found that very inspiring, but I'm still not very good at it. So I didn't get into music until, well, playing instruments, maybe the last 5 years. I did a lot of like making music digitally and,
Right.
singing, in kirtan, like group devotional singing, this sort of thing. Yeah, loads, but actually my own instrument, my own breath, my own devotion, and this sort of practice has only come maybe in the last 6, maybe 7 years. So.
Wow. Yeah, not many people knew before. Now the whole world knows that.
Yeah.
So flute is it's a kind of instrument, yeah?
Yeah. It's a wind instrument.
Okay, I got it now.
So there are two types of flute I play. One is the traditional Indian flute, which
Okay.
is out to the side. And then this is very difficult because you have to make the right shape with your mouth, and you have to be very precise with how you blow. And in fact, it's a deep meditation, right, on the breath, which, funnily enough, I'm quite accustomed to with all the yoga, meditation, the breathwork stuff. And there's another type of flute I play, which is a Slovakian flute, and it's a shepherd's flute. So again, it's a wind instrument, but it's more like a didgeridoo than a flute. So it's big, it's got a big resonance to it, it's got a really unique sound. So there are these two sort of sides to flute playing. One which is very powerful and really punchy, and then another one which is very soft and very ethereal, very magical.
Wow, you just made my day now. Learned something new. I never knew about that. Wow. Amazing. Reuben, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, nice.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best. Full of wonderful questions. I'm just gonna play a song now, just for us to relax a bit before the first question. Okay?
Yeah, cool.
Let's do it. Okay, Reuben, before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about some reason you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Okay.
First question for you is, which book had a big influence on you?
That's really difficult because I like reading lots of books. So there's two. So the first one is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is by Hunter S. Thompson. And how that influenced me, it allowed me to give a lot less about like the strict rules of life. He's the kind of author who writes from the heart and writes very fluidly as if he's speaking. And the way he dances with words, I found very inspiring. And also the way he creates these characters, which are versions of himself, to tell a story.
Wow.
So I found that very influential for the earlier parts of my life when I was still very much partying and enjoying some of the more cheeky aspects of my personality.
Right.
And on the other hand, the book that has influenced me more spiritually is Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahamsa Yogananda, who I would consider my guru.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I've never met the guy, he left his body many years ago, before I was even born.
Right.
But this autobiography of his journey of connecting with Source and connecting with himself through his journey inwards, through meditation and through breathing exercises and connecting with this essence which is within all of us, has been a real source of inspiration. And
wow.
I consider that changing my life and changing my direction at a very early stage. Yeah.
Do you think that because of this book, you literally change your point of views regarding spirituality, or let's say you got more educated about it, more understanding?
Yeah, absolutely. It broadened my understanding of what it means to walk a spiritual path. I think prior to reading this, there was this idea that in order to practice yoga, it just had to be about being flexible and being acrobatic. And really, through reading this book, it taught me that yoga is about consciousness and about coming into this present moment and using whichever tools are necessary to be here and now.
See, amazing. Yeah. Right. Next question. Let's do it. Hey, Reuben, next question for you is, what do you like the most in your best friend?
Well, first I have to choose which is my best friend. So my best friend, I won't say her name, but she's a very sweet, old friend of mine who for many years we spent partying and drinking and all of the drugs and all of both of us were salespeople, work hard, play hard. And what I find so inspiring about her, as she has grown through the last 25 years of our friendship, she's become a mother, and her playfulness and her exuberance hasn't disappeared. She's retained her childlike sense of joy in every moment, and she's still just as hardworking and just as fun, but then this side of her as a mother that has come out, this sweet, devoted, deeply loving side, has blossomed, and it's been an absolute honor to watch that happen in her. So,
wow. As you shared those similarities between both of you for those 25 years that you've been, sharing this friendship. But what's the biggest difference between both of you?
She's still very resistant to anything spiritual.
Oh, wow. Do you think that's why you got even more connected because of that fact, or not?
It's interesting because the longer I go along this path, the slowly, she's becoming more open. So, maybe in the last 6 months, she started coming along to a yoga class. And in the physical sense, she can really connect with how good it makes her feel. Wow. And I remember 20 years ago when I first went to my yoga classes, it was very physical. And it was like this wedge, driving in the thin bit, gradually opening my heart. So I'm inspired, and I see it shifting gradually. So
All right. Next question. Right, before the next question, as you shared in the beginning of the interview, that you are a dad, you are a co-parent, yeah? Two questions in one. The first part of the question is, explain to me the experience, the journey of co-parent, yeah? You said two boys, yeah? And the other part of the question is, how is being a dad? What's the biggest joy of it?
Or the journey of being a co-parent is very, very deep and very personal. I never knew love. I thought I understood and knew love. And I had an understanding of romantic love a little bit. But then when the boys were born individually, you know, to different mums, it opened my heart in ways that I couldn't imagine. And co-parenting at the beginning was very difficult, especially when we parted ways and the romantic aspect of our relationship broke down. And it was very, very heartbreaking to not be able to be around my sons who had connected me with this feeling of love. To be separated from that by distance. However, as time has gone on, the relationship with their mothers has softened. We've become more friends. We have the son in common. And because we are both so deeply in love with our son, that familiarity, we're pulling in the same direction. We have the same priority. So it's difficult because we both the mothers and we're different people. We have different priorities when it comes to our life. But when it comes to the boys, the priority is the same. So
I like that,
very
actually.
difficult, but very good. So, but life, without any difficulty, we wouldn't grow.
Totally.
And I think that's really important. I've grown so much, and this is the thing about being a dad. The version of me that was before I was a dad, and the version of me now, there's a shred, there's a perfume of the same person, but not at all. You know, there's a maturity that's come, and a sense of, again, devotion.
Yep.
Which I was just unaware of the potential for.
Amazing. Very good. Next question is, what is something you wish you could do every single day?
Be with my boys.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
be with
sweet.
my boys. Yeah, that's because I have a great life, and I do the things that I want to every day. You know, on the physical and the material level. You know, I practice yoga, I do my meditation and my breath work, and all of the things that are really nourishing for me. You know, I go to the gym, I lift the weights, I eat the good food, I have the friends. But then the boys, they're at a distance. So there's this yearning to be close to my sons. So it's bittersweet because but the distance means when we come together, it's a big peak.
Totally.
So yeah, that's the one.
How often do you see them?
Oh, every week,
Okay.
back and forth. Lots of traveling because the distance is so far. So, yeah. So one day each week I'll travel to see them, and then I'll come back. And so it's great that I have a flexible job because I can work around the traveling.
See. Cool. Ready for another question? Let's do it. All right. Next question is, this one's I think I'm gonna skip this one. If you were to raise a child, what are the most important things would you like them to learn? But I mean, you are a dad, so you can answer the question because I'm sure you know that very well.
So I think the most important thing is integrity. Really being yourself. Truly yourself, without any fear, without any mask, without needing to lie or hide anything. I think that's what I would wish them to experience as they grow.
Saying that, so far, what's the most beautiful lesson you've learned from them?
Discipline.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Even though in some areas of my life I was very disciplined before they came along with my yoga practice, etc., etc., in other areas of my life I was very relaxed around discipline. You know, I would still allow myself to go out and party with friends, or even though I'd wake up and do yoga next day or whatever. And now there's this discipline that says, no, there's something bigger going on. So I'll go out and spend time with friends, but then I won't join them in the drinking or the you know, whatever. So it's this discipline to stay present.
I see. Yeah, I think when you have kids, you know, it's not about you anymore. It's about them, isn't it? I mean, in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like it's like the whole attention, your words kind of open up. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's not like it's like sharing your words together.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful journey.
Amazing. Next question. Right, as you can see, you know, it's visible in your arms, in your hands, in your chest, some tattoos, yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me, which one is the most meaningful for you? I'm sure all of them, they have a meaning behind, yeah? Let me put the question a different way. Which one is the very first one you ever had and the latest one?
So the first one I ever had is this writing along the arm here. Maybe
Yeah.
you see? Yeah, writing along the arm. So this one came at the end of my first yoga teacher training course. And I had moved from, before the teacher training course, I would have considered myself an addict.
Okay.
And after the teacher training course, I would have considered myself moved past that addiction. And the words are in Latin, and it says, "You are only as holy as your will is strong." So it was all about strengthening my willpower, strengthening my resolve to resist the urges to go back to those old habits. So that was the first one I ever had. The most recent is difficult because I tattoo myself.
Oh.
So, like I said, many strings to the bow. For maybe 7 or 8 years, I've been tattooing without a machine. So
Wow.
dot. So the most recent is I've been working my way up my legs, gradually working my way up my legs. And because I tattoo myself, I can just do a little bit at a time and gradually. So there's my legs are completely covered now. But yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. It's just a choice for you to do it just because for you it's easier, or you like doing it, or it's just.
Well, how many years ago? 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, I was teaching yoga, but I was also in between like jobs. I used to take jobs as a chef, cooking for yoga retreats. I ran a vegan restaurant for a while, you know, and I was in between gigs, so to speak.
Right.
And I was staying at a yoga retreat center, and one of my friend's girlfriend ran tattoo studios. And she said to me, "Hey, well, if you're in between gigs, do you want to run a tattoo studio for me in Glastonbury?" And I said, "Yeah, of course. Yeah, that sounds like a great fun thing." And she said, "Do you want to learn to tattoo as well?" And I said, "Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I've thought about it for a long time, but, you know, I don't really know the people to teach me." And she said, "Oh, I know people. Don't worry. And I said, "But one thing, I don't want to use a machine. There's something about the machine and the energy and the zzz and the noise. No. And she said, okay. And she thought, and then she said, I have some friends that can teach you, but they're in Mexico.
Oh.
And I said, okay, yeah, no worries. And she said, but don't worry, the tattoo studio that we're making in Glastonbury, it's going to be a few months before the building work's done. So why don't I give you some money as your job? You go to Mexico, learn to tattoo, stay with these friends there, and learn how to work in a tattoo studio. So this is what I did. And then I came back. We had a tattoo studio in Glastonbury for some time, like maybe 18 months. And then there was a little situation with a pandemic, which meant that we had to close the studio.
Oh,
And that meant that I became freelance. So now I just tattoo the right people at the right time for the right intention, because it's a very spiritual process, tattoo, for me. There's something very meditative about the process of putting the ink in the skin. And of course, because I teach yoga, meditation, etc., everybody who comes through me, there's always this question of, do I need to teach you how to breathe so you can cope with the pain?
wow.
Is there any intention behind the tattoo that we are meditating on while we're tattooing?
Wow.
So yeah, it's a powerful process. I'm very enjoying it. I enjoy it a lot.
That's amazing, Reuben. Oh my goodness, I've been learning a lot with you today. That's great. Oh my God, that's amazing. The fact, actually, I never thought this way. I understand when you're gonna get a tattoo, there's a meaning behind, there's something that you want to express yourself. But I never thought about having a tattoo with someone at which, the person, it's really thinking about, it's not just about the action, you know what I mean, about the job. It's about the connection, about the meaning behind the breathing as well.
All of it. Yeah, all of it. The setting, the place, everything has a bearing, because how often do we sit one-to-one with each other so close in each other's aura? And then we have this agreement of, you hurt me for hours, you'll be hurting me, but afterwards we're going to be best friends, and we're going to sit with this pain, and this pain is meaning something. And every time you remember the pain, you feel the pain, ... you remember the intention, and you're putting the intention in and embodying it, and you're left with the reminder of this thing that you've embodied, this transformation that you've gone through.
Wow. Right. Yeah. Next question is, what would your ideal life look like?
Well, it's getting quite close to it now, and it involves friends, it involves family, a lot more than it did 10 years ago, So it would be really nice to travel a little bit more and see a little bit more of the world, because the world is an amazing place and there's a lot of amazing people. However, at the moment, I'm really enjoying being solid, having a foundation and having a really good routine. And this routine and this solidity and this foundation allows me to support my clients a lot better. And there's this element of service that comes from teaching people how to have their own yoga practice. This is something that's supporting them for the rest of their lives. So my life is not my own anymore, and being a parent, but also being a coach, being a yoga teacher, there's this element of devotional service to people's growth. And I kind of feel like my life is pretty good. There's gratitude for every moment, every day. So perfect. I don't often trip to the fantasy life,
Amazing. 3 questions left. Let's do it.
Cool. Nice.
Next question for you is, what is your favorite guilty pleasure TV show?
There's a TV show, it's from quite a long time ago, but it's called Californication. And it's David Duchovny, and he's a failed writer living in LA, and he's a real womanizer. It's great. Yeah, it's a great series, a great TV series. I love it. I'm enjoying it.
It's something new, or it's been on for a while?
It's maybe 2010, sort
Mhm.
of. Yeah, 10 years old, maybe. Yeah, it's on Paramount. It's
Yes.
old HBO. It's an American one.
Two questions left. Let's do it. Right. Before the next question, you shared a lot of things that, as you said at the beginning of the interview, you have different journeys. You help people, you tattoo artists, you like cooking as well, you said. So you do a lot of things. Tell me, tough question for you. If you could choose, or somebody come up to you say, you know what, Ruben, you can follow just one career from now on. You cannot, do follow things at the same time. Which one that would be and why?
I feel like probably tattooing. Probably tattooing. If it was possible, because I still teach yoga and meditation while I tattoo.
Uh-huh.
So the two are very, very combined. Coaching and yoga teaching in this way is very powerful, and it's a longer journey, and it's a lot more lucrative, you know. They each have different flavors because tattooing is very stressful because you have to be very present and you have to get things right. But in terms of the day-to-day work of tattooing, it's a very pleasant environment to be in. You're in an art studio, you're making art every day. And when it's art for devotion,
Uh-huh.
that would be the one I would choose if I was going to choose just one.
Amazing. Next question for you is, if you could be in somebody's place, yeah, somebody's skin for 24 hours, who that would be and why?
Gosh, that's a tricky question because again, it's not the kind of trip that I take, you know. Being here and now in my skin is enough of a head trip, right? However, I think it would be great for 24 hours just to be a woman and to see that experience, you know, just simply because of the complete difference it is, you know, in terms of how we are viewed and how we interact with the world and the expectations that are put on us as a man compared to as a woman. It's not something I have in this life, you know. So that would be the shift to me, you know, just to be me, but a lady me.
I like that. Interesting. You saying about that. I was growing up. I remember watching back in Brazil a TV show, and was this lovely entertainer, elderly lady, and she was very popular in Brazil, and she was very intelligent. She was talking a lot about different topics. And once she said, if man could have the power of giving birth, they would have just one child, just one. And what she meant is because women, they're so much stronger than men, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
on this way, like, I remember I kept that in my mind because it's so interesting. Like through my life, I have friends married, I have friends, female and males. And it's so interesting because when a man is sick, oh my God, he needs support. He needs to be, spoiled. They always ask him, "Oh, I'm not feeling well." When a lady, a girl, they are sick, they look after themselves somehow. They're so strong. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that stuck in my mind. So back to your answer, I think it would be a journey to be in their, in their skin, to understand their, this power that's just human. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because we are men, we are strong, but it's a different, concept of being strong or not. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah. It'd be very interesting. Very interesting.
Like that. Last question. Let's do it. But before the last question, being a coach, you deal with a lot of energy. Yeah, you share energy, you take energy, you give away a lot of energy as well. Through your career, tell me, I start get goosebumps now. I'm gonna ask this question to you. It's very powerful. Tell me a situation or a moment, through your work with someone that you're never gonna forget. Always gonna have a special place in your heart for any reason. Something that happened, something that you connected, or sharing energy, something that you go like, you know what, I will remember that forever.
Yeah. Well, each one of my clients goes through a very personal journey, and there have been some really amazing transformations. There's a client of mine who was really struggling with anxiety and was very, very much on the edge of going the medication route, with whatever pharmaceutical drugs the doctor was going to give him. And he came to me and he said, is this kind of thing going to help me? And I said, well, there are no guarantees with anything, but let's try, let's see. You don't have to make the decision to take the drugs now, and it's only 3 months, so let's see. And we went through this journey, and each week there was just this real subtle shift in this guy. And through that experience, it really showed me how powerful these practices are in transforming people's potential. So this was a real turning point for me, because I saw that you can go from being very close to death's door, very close to giving up hope, and then by this tiny little shift, tiny little habits, you can really build your own strength from the inside out.
Amazing. All right. Last question is, what things do you consider to be relationship deal breakers?
Lies. Yeah, lies. Dishonesty, For me, real true love is warts and all, all of the ugly bits, all of the stinky farts, all of this, not hiding anything, and being able to be ourselves without having to hide anything with each other. And lying and dishonesty is a real, it's just not the right thing for me. It's that's the deal breaker, definitely.
Amazing. Okay, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay.
Let's start with family.
Closeness.
Money.
Energy.
One word for love.
Sweetness.
Life.
Roller coaster.
Sex.
Connection.
Politics.
An illusion.
Religion.
Control.
Fear.
Contraction.
Friendship.
Familiarity.
Desire.
Attraction.
Regret.
Guilt.
Success.
Peace.
One word for wish.
Desire.
Happiness.
Simplicity.
One word for Southampton.
Busy.
One word for England.
Diversity.
One word for yoga.
Oneness.
Meditation, one word.
Stillness.
Tattoo artist, one word.
Trust.
And the last one now, coach, one word.
Coach. companion.
Interesting. So let's pretend I'm going to meet your friend, the one you mentioned that we've been I think for 25 years, yeah? And I would ask her the most beautiful thing about you and something that you need to improve. What she would say.
I think the first to answer the first, she would say sweetness and sensitivity.
Okay.
And the thing I could do with improving is probably consistency.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Let's play now, Ruben and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before you ask me the question, if you could tattoo anyone, like one person, to come to your studio to do a tattoo with you, to have a connection, as you said, the whole thing together, who that would be? There's anyone?
Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
I'd like to meet him and hang out with him for a while. He seems like a cool guy.
Amazing. Can you ask me a question now, Ruben?
Yeah. What's inspired you with this journey of William and the Magic Box?
Interesting question. Do you remember 2020 when the world literally went upside down? And here in England, you could leave the house once a day for exercise, to run in the park. Yeah, it seems long ago, isn't it? But just 2 years. Anyway, always been very connected with nature. Yeah, growing up back in Brazil, I remember, climbing trees. And for me, like literally I was talking to trees. I remember like myself growing up at the time, and I always been connected with nature. So I was going to this park, every once a day for this run. And saying that, Ruben, that time for me was really hard, not just for me, but for a lot of people, the uncertainty that happening around. And one day I was already thinking about, create something that I could connect with people, express myself, but I didn't know what. I wanted to do a project. The first one that came to my mind was about music. And I opened up with this friend of mine about it and said to me, William, I can see your enthusiasm about this project, but you cannot use other people's song online. They're gonna block it straight away. And I was like, oh my goodness, what I'm going to do? So yes, I kept thinking about that, but I didn't know what to do. One day, one of those runs, this idea literally came along. And I remember the moment and I remember the place as well, because it was so intense and powerful that I stopped for a minute. I was like, oh my God, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create some questions, research some questions, and I'm going to throw away to people online to see what they see, what they think about it, But saying that, back to your question, I think it's the big inspiration about expressing myself. I like back in Brazil as a teenager, when I look back, I was already doing that. I remember like with friends, going for barbecues, and I was like, oh, who was your favorite teacher? What's your favorite color? This kind of connection.
Nice.
And even as an adult as well, like with friends who know me very well, William, I remember we were doing that, going on holidays together, and I was already, so tell me, just random questions. So I was already doing that, of course, not in such a big proportion around the world with people that I never met before. But I think when people ask me that, it's about express myself. I knew was hidden somewhere. When you were saying about when you do tattoos and you this connection you have with the person, it's the same thing with me as well. I literally forget that I'm recorded. Just remember when I look here on the sides, because for me I'm literally talking and connecting and sharing energy as well. And I just realize I just see the interview like proper when I'm editing, and I go like, oh my God, why did I say that? Why did I ask that? Because here I'm literally just talking and having, a moment, making memories. So the big inspiration for me, Ruben, is just about, people. It's about people, you know what I mean? It's people that are so interesting, people that are so, powerful, the energy of people, from different backgrounds, different, there's so much things. And I feel so grateful, and grateful for life, for presenting that opportunity for me, because trust me, I could do that like for 24 hours no stop, because every interview I do, when I hang up here, my mind still keep going, because I keep thinking about a lot of things. So the connection starts, as you said, about when it starts, a tattoo connection with someone is going to be like a a lifetime. It's the same here, you know what I mean? We meant to have this moment right now, you know, we meant to have and connect for some reason, you know? So yeah, the big inspiration is about people. That's how the big inspiration about for me doing the Magic Box.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. Appreciate it.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah. It was great sharing. I appreciate the questions. It was nice. It forced me to think and to connect with some layers that I haven't really considered before. So thank you.
Amazing. Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Yeah. Peace is just one breath away.
Wow. Simple and powerful. Thanks so much. Regards to your family, to your friends, and you keep in touch, okay? It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to connect.
Take care, okay?
Loads of love.
Take care.
Nice.
Bye-bye.
Cool. Take care. Bye-bye. Peace.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.